What's up guys, it's Sean and welcome back to the iherng podcast. Happy New Year guys, 2026 is going to be awesome from a property point of view. Feels like it. We will do the justification later. But today we will answer a question from email. This is from Lim. My mom gifted me a very similar project. On Google Map, it is this project. It was one of the first properties that my mom purchased when I was 10 years old and I'm now 53. Wow, 40 years already. I live in a different address in Penang. At one time, it was rented to an event organizer company called Hans Production, although it is situated in a housing area. After that, I have difficulty renting the empty house out except to a friend for 1,300 a month for a year, which is way below the interest rate. I had thought about disposing it, but it holds great sentimental value and I am afraid I might not be able to own a landed property if I dispose it. I am also a bit worried about the feng shui part of the self-stay and it sort of faces a small road. Furthermore, there are quite a few numbers of units for sale on the road and might not fetch a good price. I'm working as a remisier and my income is 2,500 a month roughly. I have no financial commitments at present except for my child's school expenses. Have about 200,000 in stocks and savings. What should I do with this property? Okay, first of all, thank you for the email. There's a few things to clarify here. So for those who are listening to this, right, he just sent me a landed semi-D property around Green Lane, Penang. It's just like those houses that we have in PJ, those multiple floor within a living area one. Then there's 2-story. You will have the quartz mosaic flooring still. Then you will have the parquet timber floors on top. It's a very old house because ultimately the mother has held it for 40 years already, and now it gifted to Mr. Lim here. So the selling price right now, I'm looking online, semi-D around this area is selling for 1.9 freehold. But if you go to Property Guru's website, you get to see the past transacted price also. There are examples where it's sold for 3 million, this one bigger house. Then there are some sold for 1.3 million, 2 million also got. So now the question is, should he sell it? So let's break this down into like a pointers format lah. Why you want to sell? You think that the rental is lower than interest. Based on what you say lah, it means that if you put your money in the bank in terms of FD, you're gonna earn more money. Okay, but then you don't want to sell because you worry you cannot own a property, a landed property in Penang anymore. And you also worry about the feng shui part of it. Is it a concern if you want to move into the property, then suddenly you think that the feng shui might not suit your family? So is there an intent to move in or not? But the biggest thing that is very blur about this conversation, right, is your income. So your income, you're working as a remisier, your income is 2,500 a month. Is it 25,000 or 2,500? Because at 2,500, I'm not just belittling you. At 53 years old, 2,500, I don't know. And then you have about 200,000 in stocks and savings. Just want to get the facts right, because here the difference in the income, one more zero, is going to be a little bit different. So I'll just follow what you wrote, assuming everything is correct. Okay, at 2,500 monthly income a month, and let's say the property is about, one that you sent to me is about 1.9. Let's assume it's 1 million. Half price, 1 million, right? I also think you should sell. But that comes with a caveat, of course. Okay, action plan. Step number 1. Go find out what's the valuation, what's the market price for the property that you have. So now you told me that this is about one of a similar project. It's not exactly it, I assume. So for the one that you have, go to the bank and ask what's the valuation, or go ask agents. You just go to Property Guru, look for an area specialist, speak to the fella, ask, if I want to sell this house, how much can you sell for? So that's to feel the market price. This is important because we don't want to shortchange ourselves. If the property is a 2 million one, just because you didn't do homework, you want the money, you just sell 1 million. A bit cuckoo lah, right? Let's not do that. So go to the bank, get a bank valuation on it. Let's assume it's 1.7 million. What does it mean? The new buyer, if they want to buy your house, maximum loan amount is 90% of 1.7 million. You get what I mean? So that's the limitation. But if you speak to the agent, then they tell you that, hey, actually this house, look at KPI, your neighbor sold 2 million, you know. But then like, I thought the bank is 1.7, or the remaining one, the buyer pays in cash. Many examples like this in the market. To you, does it matter? Got people want to pay extra, don't care lah, take only lah, right? But it can also go the other way where a buyer comes in like, hey, you know the transaction next door is 1.5 only, bank valuation is 1.7. It's also a good thing because if the market rate is 1.5, the bank value is 1.7, the new buyers can maximize their loan. They can actually pull off a zero money down deal, where in the SPA, you will just put 1.7. Okay, then you take 90% of 1.7, which is 1.53. Then 1.53 paid to the owner, then the remaining you want to pay the documentation or whatsoever, so it's all good. It's not actually a bad thing. But the whole goal of this step 1 is for you to get clarification. Now, the confusion is because you got no clarification. You don't know what the amount that you're working with. Let's fix an amount. Let's say 1.75. I don't know why I like this number, but let's go with it. Before I forget, shout out to your mother for leaving such a property, right? So last time, I don't know how much she bought when you were 10 years old, which is like 43 years ago. Wow. And every time, I'm just very, very amazed with such stories. Every time when we buy a property, right, it's always expensive. No matter what year you buy, at what age you buy, like today if I buy anything, right, it's still expensive one. But the true value really lies across time. Everyone will say like, aya, old house who got people want, it's still 1 million lah. Some may argue, hey, 1 million in the future, nothing lah. But if you didn't pull the trigger in the first place, 1 million pun tak ada. You get what I mean? So I am always very, very motivated with such stories. So before I forget, your mom's awesome. So after we get a market price of 1.75, then only you can start calculating. Let's say if you rent to a friend at 1,300. 1,300 a year, it's about 15,600. Okay, so let's divide by 1.75 million. Of course, it cannot reach lah. So that's like 0.8%, only 1%. Okay, so it's terrible. If you were to put this amount in the bank, it would generate you more money. Correct. But is that the right comparison? That's my argument. Because how do we make money in property? Okay. Number 1, capital appreciation. Number 2, rental yield. Number 3, equity building. Equity, now you fully own a property already, so you done already. This one is gifted to you, so 100% score, right? Rental yield, it has never been a game for landed properties because ultimately a lot of people buy landed property due to its scarcity, mainly for point number 1, capital appreciation. And across Malaysia for the past 20 years, if you look into landed properties, the price appreciation conservatively, this median price for Malaysia, is about 3 to 5% year on year. So all I'm saying is 1.75 million, you times, let's put it very low lah, right? Let's put it 3%, right? It's 52,500. So technically, how you should calculate is 52,500 plus the rental returns. Then only you match that with the existing FD rates or interest rate in the market. You get my point of argument? Especially now, with the LRT ongoing, with all the FDIs coming into Penang, more people will have jobs, more people will have money, more people will want to upgrade. Will there be a higher demand for such housing, especially in a location like this? Then number 3, sentimental value. This one, I have a very different take to this lah. Everybody looks at old houses. Oh, my parents actually grew up in it, that's why we should all preserve it, although it's no longer relevant, although we need to keep maintaining the house, pay more money just to keep it intact, right? I don't know lah. So being a property enthusiast myself, unless you live in it, right, property is just a setting. Home is where you really need to focus on. In my opinion, property ultimately is just a tool to help us achieve what we want to achieve. To your parents, to your mom, it's a tool to preserve her wealth and help you or the second generation to have a better head start compared to their generation. Objective achieved. And now, because you are romantic about it, you want to preserve it. Is it wrong? Not entirely. Until you need the money. It's going to be a real debate where suddenly now your child has urgent need of money because you need to pay this amount first before the scholarship can kick in later, so now you need about 300,000 to 500,000, for example. Or there's touch wood, medical situation, or there's an urgent need of money, you need that cash more than your stocks and savings. Would you want to liquidate all your stocks position heading into 2026? So where do you have that extra money? Or you want to do a renovation to the current house that you're living in, you need about 300,000. Mana cari duit, bro. And then what's the point of then holding an old house, then having concerns about it, suddenly now leaking, then now this, now that, then floor cracking, grass growing or whatsoever, right? Is it worth the sentimental part then? Again, unless you want to live in. So in crossroads like this, it's very hard to make decision because there's no bigger goal in life. At 53, maybe you should have a bigger goal in life. For example, 1 million ringgit education fund for your kid. Suddenly everything has a timeline to it. Like let's say, I don't know how old is your kid, maybe I assume 12 or 13. Another 5 more years, they need to go university already. Do you think your 200,000 in stocks and savings can push him through his dream education? You harap him can get scholarship or not? Then when he wants to get married, he wants to further his studies some more, he wants to buy a new house, daddy, why be chu anzua? How? You get what I mean? So now, because there's no such things within your framework, it's very hard to pull any trigger because there's no pain point and there's no motivation to do anything. The status quo is the best, just leave it lah. That is also an option when there's no urgency. But please bear in mind, to exit a property, usually when you don't really need the money, you will get the best deal one. Imagine when you really need the money next year, 2027, you will need 500,000. Now kanjong already. Now suddenly, my house how much then I really need the money So whoever who just come in as a low baller gets the deal. That's how we spot deals all the time. And at your age, 53 years old, is there anything in life that you still want to do? Have you sorted out your retirement plan? Are you going to work until you are not able to work to, or you have set an age or an amount that enough is enough, I don't want to work anymore after this amount? Is there such a plan? Is there an education fund established for your children? Besides that, is there any crazy things in life or bucket list that you want to achieve? You want to travel to Europe for a month, you want to travel to Japan now, so they want to hoo-ha a bit, very sensitive right now. But are there things in life that you want to achieve that requires large sum of money? May I suggest to do that as well within the same timeline of looking for clarity within the property itself. So in conclusion, go to the bank, get the bank value on the property, then speak to agents, find out the market value, then you can really gauge how much the property is really worth or how much anybody else would pay for the property. Okay, then from that amount, then only you start tabulating on the interest rate, because do remember again, capital appreciation on 3%. And why I say it's okay to even keep it for now is because there's no urgent need of money. Okay, and property, it's a very good hedge against inflation. It means as time passes, cost of goods and services will all go up, material go up. It's going to be more and more expensive to get land, to get materials, to get labor, to build houses. Your house becomes a good store of value. Because to think about it, let's say if you will exceed at 1.75 million today, are you confident that it will hold you until the end of your life or to make dreams happen? Because the financial discipline is a whole different picture altogether. Suddenly, when a person has no experience in dealing with money before, right? I'm not saying that you lah, but now you've got 200,000. Let's say you have 1.75 million in the bank account. First time see 7 digit in the bank. Wow. That vacation suddenly becomes very cheap, the watch looks cheap, everything else looks affordable. And suddenly you will develop all these crazy thoughts, all these crazy habits for no reason. But at 53, I don't think so anymore. The body cannot take it already lah. That's why holding it is also an option, selling it is also an option. So personally, if I got no urgent need of money, I will just hold my properties. But at 53, the priorities will also need to be different. Again, because I don't have your medical planning, I don't have your retirement planning, I don't have all these kind of things. I will sell it if I get a good deal. And a good deal here means a percentage above market value, not your value. So let's say if market is 1.6, I get 1.66 or I get 1.7 million, I will sell. Just to make sure that I didn't shortchange myself. Then on that 1.7 million, what can you do? Settle your debt, your existing housing loan. Then you 100% have a property for yourself already. The rest you park into an education fund for the children. Then you got leftovers, enjoy yourself lah. That's also logical because of your age at 53. Do also check with your wife lah what she want to do. Think about her lah. And I guess that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Ultimately, property is a tool for us to achieve what we want to achieve in life. Sentimental values, being romantic about a property because we grow up in it, right? To me, I got no such thing, right? It's not the house, it's the home. I strongly believe that, and I guess that's all for today. Thank you very much. If you really like this episode, like it, share it, and even subscribe for more information like this. Until next time, this is Sean Tan. Ciao.
When love comes in